I don't do a deal anymore without checking on sites first if a tenant wants to be there or not. I will never tie up a piece of land again without knowing at least one tenant from sites wants to be on that piece of land, because the amount of time, energy, and effort that it saves me personally as a developer, knowing that I at least have one tenant ready to go on this piece of land makes literally all of the difference. I mean, I have deals that I have gotten done where I didn't even have to wait for the inspection period to end before I had leases signed because of the information that I gained through Sytes.
Our experiences collided in the music industry prior to the biz.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel the same way that I do, but I wouldn't be half of who I am in this industry without my experience in the music industry. So,
oh, for sure. There's nothing like being in an industry that's completely filled with nepotism and absolutely only built through networking, or almost 90% built through networking. And then coming to commercial real estate where it's more of a meritocracy. You kind of earn your chops in music, which I still think is the hardest. There's like nothing compared to how hard music is. Like, it is so hard. And commercial real estate people are like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm telling you guys, you don't understand. It is cutthroat. You guys think getting a lease signed is a big deal? Try getting a record deal. All right. There's nothing like that.
oh man, I got a record deal. Haven't seen a penny from it, but for a whole other story. But more importantly, what is Sytes for the listeners, and how did you come up with this platform?
So basically what Sytes is a marketplace for landlords, developers, and brokers to see where tenants need new locations and be able to send tenants deals based on their criteria and where they want to be. So it's a first of its kind. It's a listing marketplace for tenants and not landlords like we've traditionally seen. So reverse Crexy, reverse CoStar is kind of the easiest way to describe what Sytes is on a most basic level. What we do for tenants on the other side is a whole different story. We have a whole suite of AI and organizational tools for tenant reps and representatives to use. But at its core, we are a tenant listing marketplace.
So how did you come up with this?
So before I got into the whole tech world, I was doing single tenant QSR development. I was looking for deals for guys like Scooters and Dutch Brothers and bunch of like freestanding QSR, and tying up raw land and kind of doing that whole game. And I quickly realized that half my battle was trying to figure out if a tenant even wanted to be here or not. And I realized that creating relationships with these tenants and their representatives and tenant rep brokers allowed you to have a huge advantage over the competition, because you would be able to know if you have a tenant in tow on a piece of land that you have tied up. So the difference in the timeline between knowing that you have a tenant for a piece of land versus trying to find that tenant once you tied it up is completely different. It's the difference between, that deal getting done or not. And after a while, I just couldn't understand why there wasn't a way to just see where every tenant wanted to be across the entire United States on just a map. And that was kind of like my whole dream idea, is like, I want to build a marketplace where I could see where every tenant wants to be on a map, and they show, within a 1 mile radius that they want to be on this intersection, and they can even highlight corridors, and I know all of their criteria, and I know if this tenant works for this site or not with the click of a button. And I partnered up with my partner, Dean, and we built it.
How long did it take to build it?
Took about a year to really get it going. I would say that's when we hit our inflection point. We've only been around a year and a half, but in this last 6 months, it's been moving and shaking. We've only been on the market about 8 months. So it's been relatively all new, but we have over 200 tenants now using the software. It's kind of been amazing to see. We have thousands of listings, and we just keep signing up tenants every day. I mean, literally today we signed up a fantastic brand. I think I can talk about it. I guess, I mean, they signed up. So it's Propelled Brands. They are I guess, franchisor for multiple different brands. They have Salon Suites, My Salon Suites, I believe. They have US Pack and Ship and Fast Signs as well. And some Camp Bow Wow. I'm sorry, that's what it is, Camp Bow Wow. So yeah, and they're across the entire United States. They're going to list all of their site requirements for the entire US. So, you know, just another great tenant on there who's going to be looking for deals, and landlords and developers can sign up and send them deals based on where they want to be. Kind of dream come true.
So do they choose the sites with the Y based on demographics, location, or is it different depending on the user?
It's different depending on every user. Typically, a tenant comes on to our platform when they already kind of know where they want to be. So they use various different analytics tools like Sytes USA or Placer AI and map out where they want to be. And then they come to us for the marketplace aspect and the sites of middle aspect of kind of their expansion plan.
Is there any standout deal that you've seen get done as a result of Sytes?
Yeah, I've seen some demises take place that were fantastic. I saw a friend of mine immediately land a lease the second that they hopped on in a market that was extremely difficult to penetrate. And the tenant was looking for a site there forever. I knew this firsthand. And it was just kind of like, this is exactly why this platform works. Of course, this tenant didn't know about this development that was going on because there's no place to list an active development, right? And the tenant immediately got sent the site because the developer needed tenants for their development. So it got done and, you know, created probably $1 million of value in terms of that lease alone. So at least $1 million, I would say, in profit probably. So it's just really cool to see that happen kind of just like within a week's time, you know, the second they signed up, it was like, boom. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome. So I would say a few different deals stand out. Obviously, I have to be a little bit vague about the actual like tenants that I got these deals done, I guess, for now. I don't know. I have to ask if I can like fully talk about them.
Sure. That's fair. We're at an inflection point in commercial real estate. I am totally obsessed with talking about how the internet is going to change commercial real estate. And I'm also convinced we are only getting started. You know, we have apps like CoStar, Crexy, and for the listeners, CoStar and Crexy are the MLS for commercial real estate. They leave a lot to be desired, which is fine. It's like I said, we're at an inflection point. We're just getting started here. Where do you see Sytes in 5 years?
I definitely see Sytes being the go-to place to know if you have a tenant. I don't do a deal anymore without checking on Sytes first if a tenant wants to be there or not. I will never tie up a piece of land again without knowing at least one tenant from Sytes wants to be on that piece of land, because the amount of time, energy, and effort that it saves me personally as a developer, knowing that I at least have one tenant ready to go on this piece of land ever before I get it under contract, makes literally all of the difference. I mean, I have deals that I have gotten done where I didn't even have to wait for the inspection period to end before I had leases signed because of the information that I gained through Sytes. I wish I get anxiety sometimes. I wish I could do every single deal on Sytes. Like, I see all of them. I'm like, oh, I want to do them all because I'm such a deal junkie, you know? I need to go to deal rehab, I think.
You're too young to go to deal rehab.
Yeah. You see those guys. There should be like a Deal Junkies Anonymous at ICSC. Vegas.
There's probably a Facebook group for it, but
yeah. I want to retrade.
retrading is part of the biz.
Retrading is part of the biz. Lying is unfortunately part of the biz, but we don't have to get into all that.
We'll have to bring my therapist on for that one.
Yeah, for sure. We need that needs its own podcast. Times that like brokers lying to us stories.
Trust but verify, my friends.
That was my dad's favorite saying. He would say, it says that in the Talmud. Trust but verify.
Okay, so if I'm a landlord, we've got a lot of landlords who listen to this podcast. How am I using Sytes? Can I cut out a broker? Not that that's not implying that's a bad thing.
It's not really for cutting out brokers. I don't know why everyone always assumes that's what we're trying to do. It's like, oh, they're trying to cut the broker out. No, actually, brokers could sign up. They could use the platform. If you're a landlord, you can just have a broker handle it for you. You know, if you don't want to do that and you want to handle it and be hands-on, then you're not the kind of guy who would be using a broker to begin with. So it's just kind of your choice. But if you're a landlord, all you do is you go on Sytes, you sign up for your state. We do have a feature called Landlord Alert coming out soon, where a landlord can just upload their address, see if tenants want to be there, and then pay to unlock those tenants with credits, and that's it. So you can literally just upload all of the different sites that you have across the entire United States, and you'll know if a tenant has interest in that market and it fits your criteria for your site. If they work for your site, all you do is buy some credits, unlock that tenant, and then you're good to go. You'll have a tenant that's interested in your site and potentially will sign a lease.
Damn. It's a really interesting industry to me, just because the upside is tremendous, right? Like, how much is a credit, or how do your credit packages work?
So the Landlord Alert side isn't fully fleshed out yet. We haven't released it, but Sytes full, which is like the pro version or the enterprise version, where you could see on a map where every single tenant wants to be, regardless if you have a site there or not. We charge $1,200 a state annually. And there are some premium states that get like a little bit higher in pricing, but generally just $1,200 a year. We take no commission. We don't take any extra fees, any success fees, anything like that. You pay $1,200 for a state, and you could potentially do millions of dollars of business. So it's a pretty good trade-off for the moment. We're probably going to increase pricing soon with the amount of tenants that we're getting on here, but for right now, it's kind of where we have our pricing set.
It's practically free at that.
I mean, the way you think about it is like, okay, you get one lease signed, it's paying for itself 100 times over. So, if you have enough deals in a state to, if you have 3-4 vacancies in a state, it's probably going to be worth it for you. Landlord Alert is really for like the smaller landlord that has, 1 or 2 sites that or maybe in a few different states or something like that, that it just doesn't make sense to buy multiple states, so they can just pop that in there. But you can't hunt based on that data, right? So if you want to know where a tenant's going and then get a piece of land under contract based on that data, you need the Sytes Pro or Sytes Premium.
I talk a lot about like the barrier of entry to our business.
Mm-hmm.
A site like CoStar, in full transparency, for me, for one use per year of CoStar, it's $6,000. And people are like, oh my God, $6,000. And it's like, boy, I smile when I pay that bill, because
yeah, that's cheap. I was going to say, you got a deal. I don't even know how the hell did you even get that price? That's amazing.
Well, they price differently between owners and brokers, and they do it, so I was able to separate myself from our holdings.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll listen to this and I'll get a phone call. No, it's a ridiculous industry when it comes to opportunity and upside. And it's fun to talk to people like you who are at the forefront of it.
Yeah. We're trying to do something different here, trying to shake things up. We want to increase deal velocity. We want to increase volume. And we think that this is the way to do it. there are some people that are hesitant about putting their market plans out there. There are tenants that don't want people to know where they want to be. But in our opinion, that's kind of a defensive posture where, okay, you'll save on, I guess, some privacy. Maybe a competitor won't know that you're looking in that area, but what are you losing out on? Well, now every single developer and landlord that owns in that market isn't going to know that you want to be there, right? So is it really worth it to lose out on a potential site when you could have access to thousands of those just to save on your competitor knowing that you want to be in a certain market or not? I guess, it's really up to the tenant, but if you're aggressive enough, like a Dutch Brothers or something along those lines, I mean, it's a no-brainer,
If you could buy only one QSR brand, which brand would it be?
Oh my God, you're gonna get me in trouble. Oh man. I mean, I don't want to be basic, but I guess Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A is fantastic, but that's such an obvious answer. You want to say outside of Chick-fil-A, maybe?
Sure.
Because there's no real QSR that can compare to Chick-fil-A. I mean, it's like its own category. Those things sell for like 4 caps. They trade worse than treasury bonds. Like, you'll literally make more yield on a T-bill than you will on a Chick-fil-A. So, like,
well, I feel like Dutch Brothers is like the Chick-fil-A of coffee today.
Yeah, I was gonna say outside of Chick, you gotta go with Dutch. I think Dutch is strong. They're so good, and they sell for great cap rates. They hold value. They do a ton of business. People love them. Coffee's not going anywhere, no matter what. I feel like people will still want to get coffee if there's a nuclear apocalypse. There's still going to be people waiting in line at Dutch Brothers. So I think you got to go with Dutch,
That's funny. Yeah, it's like some people, it's like their whole personality is buying Dutch Brothers.
Literally. And God bless them. That's the kind of tenant you want. You want your tenant to be a personality trait.
Bitches get riches.
Exactly. So yeah, I would say that. But you're trying to get me in trouble here, Aviva.
How do you sign on these tenants?
So, at first people thought we were crazy. They were laughing us out of the room, like, oh, you're going to put our info on there? Like, hell no. And then we got Go-To Foods. We got a couple early guys like the Zig guys, Aaron Zucker, who is a great man. He's a franchisee of multiple different brands now, and syndicates deals as well. Him and Matt Maring from Go-To Foods gave us the first votes of confidence. We started in like Florida and kind of the Southeast. So we had some initial success there. I remember I think they got like a swig deal done or something like that. Like a piece of land got sent to them, and I think it got done, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But that was like kind of like an early sign of like, oh wow, like, man, they're a first tenant. They already got a deal done. And then the guy who sent the deal was really happy about like how the process was, how easy it was to send a site to them via Sytes, that he made like a LinkedIn post, and he's like, every tenant should use this. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, we got something. And then like we had no action for months after that. And finally we started getting other tenants on board once we were able to kind of show success with Go-To Foods. Go-To Foods started opening up other states. So we got into the Northeast with them, then Texas. Texas was like the game changer. Once we had Texas with Go-To Foods, which is like McAllister's, Schlotsky's, Annie Ann's, Cinnabon, Carvel Ice Cream, Moe's, Southwest Grill. Those are all their brands. Once we penetrated Texas, it was like everything was on fire. And we ended up getting a ton of different brands coming on. So that was really cool. But yeah, it was tough at first to convince these tenants, but now that they see other tenants, it's kind of like, oh, the snowball's rolling. Let's catch up here. Let's get on board. Hey, now we want to be the first chicken tenant on here. Now we want to be the first, tire repair tenant on Sytes. Because if you corner a market on here, you get access to all these developers and landlords. It's like you're kind of getting a gold mine from the tenant side, and then vice versa on the landlord side. You want to know where these tenants are going. So we're starting to get that.
You should
Go ahead.
more money. Sorry.
I know, right? Yeah, we need to start charging more, but we're okay for now. We want to just get the network going. We don't need to be greedy.
Okay, that's good. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. It'll be interesting to see after Sytes has, I know you guys are younger, a year, 2, 3. It'll be interesting to see how you can just get data and understand actually what's happening from a larger perspective of the market.
Yeah.
Be it state by state, nationally.
Absolutely.
International.
No, absolutely. And also I feel like we've been focusing on retail a lot. We do have industrial tenants on Sytes. I know you even posted one industrial tenant in the Denver area. So we have a lot of industrial on there. I'd say that's like probably our second most populated asset class, maybe tied with like medical. And then we have some very few office tenants. So we have all different categories.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like with industrial, demographics is like, I don't want to say entirely an afterthought, but certainly something we don't talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just unnecessary, It's more like shipping times and, rail access and that kind of stuff.
How far can you go north, south, east? How fast?
Yeah.
You go north, south, east, west. So a crazy business. And like Bob Knackle said, you learn 80% in the first year and 20% the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about the 80% for me. I feel like I'm still on the 20%.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
We're young. We got some healthy decades ahead of us.
I feel like we're also kind of getting into commercial real estate at one of the craziest times. I mean, maybe the 2008, 2007 crisis was, a wild time to be getting in, but COVID and now this whole tariff thing, I mean, this has got to be up there, right?
Pack a lunch. We just getting started.
Yeah. Oh boy.
No, but I couldn't agree more. I think just like I said, with the internet, everything is bound to change. And it's cool to be at the forefront of it instead of wishing you would have listened.
That's for sure.
Rafael, this is the Commercial Real Estate Secrets podcast.
Okay.
What is your commercial real estate secret you are here to divulge with the people?
I would say one secret that I've noticed just from seeing what tenants want to expand where on Sytes is that there's going to be parcels that are 0.3, 0.4 acres that people thought were absolutely worthless that are now going to be worth, close to $500,000, maybe even $1 million, just because of the amount of tenants that are going to be using these smaller parcels now that all these different tenants are downsizing. This is just from a retail perspective. So I would say that, these throwaway like 0.3, 0.4 acre sites that people thought were completely worthless might actually be worth like $1 million with a ground lease to a small Sliders or a Wiener Schnitzel or one of these random tenants that's kind of just drive through only. So I would say that would be my secret is that, that 0.3 acre site that you were going to sell to somebody for $50 just to handle the real estate taxes. You might want to hold on to that one because it might be worth a ton of money. And that's something that people, I don't think, have fully latched onto yet.
Or sell it to us.
Oh, yeah, that too. And then they're worth nothing. We just want it for no reason at all.
Raf, for the listeners, first off, where can they go? How do we get to Sytes?
So easily, it's just www.sytes with a Y. So that's SYTESCRE.com. And I have a big LinkedIn presence, as do you. We're big social media people. So I'm on LinkedIn as well, just Rafael Weiss, RAFAEL, and then WEISS. I post a lot of stuff there. And I guess this is a good place to announce it, but I want to start a group in the next couple days where we'll be posting different tenant criterias and requirements and expansion plans across the US. It's going to be an invite-only LinkedIn group. So add me on LinkedIn now to get access to it because it's coming soon.